Welcome to another edition of Inspired Discussions, where we challenge the way you think, shattering status quo while increasing your self worth. They call me Sibley. Serving people is who I am, is what I do, and I'm with my co-hosts.
Remy, realizing energy made me.
Yeah, thanks, y'all. As always, appreciate y'all tuning in another week to listen to the podcast. As everybody know, we got elections results this past week official. We have Grandpa Joe has been elected the 46th president. But we're not about to make this another podcast on politics or the energy behind that. We're gonna let everything transpire because I think we only at the start of all the drama when it comes to that. So we're gonna
Right.
let that go into the beginning of the year. Let him Grandpa Joe get inaugurated in.
Let's get past this. Come on.
And we're gonna go there, but I got, and we're gonna speak on it then. I got a testimony for y'all this morning. Well,
Dun,
well,
dun,
today I
dun.
shouldn't say this morning. Today, well, actually two. Yeah. So
Yeah.
we got a little testimony service, like back in the day, all the Kojic people out there. When I look
Yo.
back
Oh
over
my
my
God.
life,
Oh man.
and I think
Lord.
things over.
Bro, I ain't heard that song in so long. Oh
I
my
can
God.
truly say that I've been
I,
blessed. I have a
I have a
testimony.
testimony.
Man, you just messed up the cadence, dog. God, you let me stick to the singing, man. I ain't no singer, but bruh, you you just can't.
Yo, you know that's one of them songs. Like you hear it, you trying to fight it, but it's like, you know what, let me at least get 5 words in. I'm cool with that.
Testimony. Testimony.
Oh boy.
Nah, it be certain stuff like that that I miss from church and fellowship
For
though.
real.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my God,
So
yes, bro. I
it
miss
it
that
it,
as well.
it do something to your spirit. So
Especially
let's
when
get
it's
in.
real.
Right,
Oh,
exactly.
I don't know what. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. So let's get into it. Like the first one is, so I was playing back the podcast, and I I was noticing a little sound quality that Remy was a little bit louder than me because his headset or whatnot, and I was like, I was gonna tell him at the beginning of this one, I was gonna say, let's go one more week with your headphones. Just let me see the difference. I think I was gonna tell you, like, see if you can, like, maybe turn down your volume, maybe, and maybe that'll help. I didn't know I
Mm,
was gonna say something
okay.
along that nature, just to fix it. And
Right.
then we'd get into but have your mic set up, prepared for next week. So we get on today, y'all, and as the YouTube audience see, he got his mic set up today and hooked up. So I didn't
Right.
even have to say nothing, and we always talk about that infinite intelligence, and everything is connected,
Mm-hmm.
and when you just let go, and as they say, you let God deal with
Oh,
things.
bro. Yo. That just hit me. As soon as you said that, let go and let God, I'm like, oh, snap. I just got a good understanding about that now. That's what that means. My
Absolutely.
fault. Go ahead. That just hit me out of nowhere. Like, whoa.
Absolutely, absolutely. Let go and let God, and or or like I say, you just let go and you let that infinite intelligence work, and
Wow.
you believe that it's always working uh, around you and through you, and these things work out for your good. So
Right.
I didn't even have to mention it to him; it was already done. So peep this out. Yesterday,
Yeah.
I'm sitting in the car, me and Cherish, we about to go to AT&T. I was, budgeting out some stuff, and I was looking and seeing how much the bill was, and I'm like, man, like I can pay this for the bill, but I don't really want to pay it.
Mm.
So I was like, okay, maybe I just, pay half on one of our phones, and then that way, the bill would be a little less because I'm not paying so much on I'm not paying so much, to finance the phone over 2 years.
Okay.
And then, so I just, I was like, okay, I figure it out when I got to figure it out. I just let it go.
Mm.
So I get to pick up our money yesterday, and Solomon, that's my stepdad. For everybody that don't know, he was
Oh
like,
man.
he was like, "What phone you got?" And I was like, "I think like iPhone 7." He was like, "Not no more. You got a 10." And he gave me his
What?
old he gave me his old iPhone, so. And I didn't realize it until I got in the car and I really started thinking about it. I'm like, man, I was just thinking and trying to figure this out earlier. And
Wow.
and now, he and now, it worked itself out for me. So that's I wanted to share
What,
that with y'all because, man, when y'all just let go and don't overthink things, and just let go and let God deal with it. Let that infinite intelligence work through you and around you, and it's always gonna work out for your good
oh
if you're not
man,
stressing over it. What?
bro, man. No, I needed that one right there. That one hit for real.
Yeah,
Let
man.
go and
That's
let
why I
God.
was. That's why I was telling you when I got on and you had your mic and then that situation yesterday. I'm like, man, that's just amazing. Like it had me pumped up because I'm like, yeah, that vibrational frequency 8-1 is
Nah, that's real.
the universe responding to my thoughts, and you know what I'm doing. So I need to start acting more on my thoughts, and really, not necessarily acting more on my thoughts, but when I have a
Not.
thought, like, don't
Hmm.
overthink it and let it go. I'm like, okay, I had it. It's gonna work itself out. That's all I can do at that point because on both of them situations, like that's all I could do at that point. Just
Right.
okay. I'm gonna bring it up. I'm gonna deal with it when I have to, and it brought itself back to me. You had your mic. Now I got a new
Right.
phone that I'm gonna get taken care of today or whatever. But that's neither here or there. But it's always gonna work out for you. And
True. Especially when you living through that divine energy and living within your purpose and being able to realize that that's what we was also talking about in the beginning, living through that discipline as well. So yeah, yeah, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
absolutely, and but what I really want to get back on this week, y'all, is back to that humility quote from a few podcasts back from what podcast was it?
I don't
Think
even
less of
know.
self. Think less of self with Trey,
Mm,
and
yeah. Is that about 3 weeks
it,
ago? Two?
it was about two. So we got a minute. It was a minute clip. And I actually found it great. Hold on, I'm about to
Oh,
replay it back for y'all.
oh my God! I thought that was my voice. I was like, oh man, he didn't prepare me for this. I gotta listen to myself. Oh Lord.
The audio. So here go the audio from that quote
Mm,
about just humble. The word humble. It say being humble is not thinking less of yourself, but it's thinking of yourself less. And I think that was profound to me. Every time we hear the word humble, it say humble is not thinking less of yourself. It is thinking of yourself less. So, yeah, it was profound because I can, I know that they just say from a perspective of me being a great businessman, a great trader, of course I know I possess that within and all of that knowledge. But at the same time, if I keep saying I'm such a great businessman and somebody else could be in a situation where they're trying to get to that, that kind of feel like, well, I'm not as great as him.
So that's why when you introduce me, I say, I definitely love the introduction. But the truth is, we all geniuses. I just tapped into it earlier. So that it is thinking of yourself less. So yeah, to the world, I'm a great man. But I understand it ain't just me, this great man as an individual. I understand just the infinite intelligence flowing through me and around me. So they just gave me a different definition of being humble. Like you don't gotta think of yourself as less.
So yeah, everybody, y'all want to check out that full episode? That's episode 19. Thinking, think less. Uh, thinking of self less. Thinking of self less. If y'all want to check out that full episode. And I wanted to come back to it because man, it was so groundbreaking for me because like I said stated on the episode, man, that and we talked before, like I was really hung up on like humility and humble because of the first part of that quote that he gave, and it was really because it was an incomplete definition and I couldn't just rock with it. And I'm like, why do I have to think of myself as less? Like
Right.
where they do that at? Like, where they do that at? Like that's not me at all whatsoever, and it really freed me because when I first heard that, I was like, okay, I can rock with that because now that put me in the servant mode, and
Mm.
it put me in an energy where it's like, okay, humble yourself. Now I'm more free of saying humble myself now because it's like I can say the word humble don't I don't cringe when I hear it now. And I can use it in
Right.
a sentence when it be like humble yourself, it's not about you. That I understand it now better on a better
Right.
level, and it just speaks on to like what I always talk about with you about accepting that responsibility and like holding myself accountable, and and it just really freed me, and because now even with the testimonies I shared, because now I'm moving in a mode where I'm like, I used to have something that I said about a year ago where I was like, I'm grateful for the evidence of the infinite power working.
Right. I've
And
heard you say that before. Yeah.
yeah, and since that episode, I kind of tweaked that a little bit, and I might have even said even before we started recording. Now I go and say, I'm grateful for the infinite intelligence working around me and through me. Just taking it a little deeper
Mm.
because I'm grateful for the
Yeah.
infinite. Even when I sage, now that's what I'm doing. Cleanse all the negative energy out of me, and I'm grateful for the infinite intelligence working through me and around me. So
Man.
that's where that put me. It put me back into a serving mode, and like that's just not something. And it meant so much to me because my intro, like I really do feel like that is serving people. It's like it's who I am. It's what I do. I love to put myself in positions to serve people. Like this podcast is an example of that because in a way, I feel like I'm serving you and being your partner in this. So it's like I'm always looking for situations
Right. Right.
to put myself
S-
in that serving
So,
mode.
so with you having that statement, okay, beforehand, before you changed it, is that still necessarily about a bad statement, or is it the fact that you switched it and enhanced it, made it better at the same
That's
time? Because what I'm getting
that,
is your definition or what you had got from the word humble was the fact that you gotta suppress who you are within certain moments, and now it's necessarily appreciating the moment, living through living through you and your divine energy, and everything around you at the same time?
Uh, see, I think it's more so of appreciation to the completion of the definition. The definition is incomplete in my eyes.
Okay.
You
Okay.
know, it's incomplete. You know, and that's why I was so hung up on it. Like because it was just incomplete and it just wasn't resonated with me. Because I'm like you say, why I gotta suppress myself? You know, that
Right.
I should speak highly of myself. I should, you know,
Right.
I should, be this and this, but like I was, or Trey even alluded to that just in that note. Like I said, it got for me that servant tip, but he mentioned, like as he mentioned in the clip, like somebody else can be looking at that like I'm less of that person. So it's like when
Right.
when you adapt that mindset of thinking. Um, selfless. I have to always make sure I say it right because I don't want to say the
Right.
first
Right.
half
Right.
of it. When you thinking of selfless, it puts you in, and it's. I'm just more or okay with saying the word
Right.
humble
Right.
now, and
Right.
and
Right.
associating it myself with that word because it has a different meaning and definition to me now than it ever has had
Okay.
before in the past.
All right. Well. All right. Before I, because I got a feeling this is about to happen a lot. All right. So for those who's watching, for sure, if y'all see me kind of like froze in the moment, with my mouth open and I'm not really moving, the screen didn't freeze. All right. My brain is just on overload, and I'm trying to categorize and organize all my thoughts accordingly while still having a conversation. So, pardon me. That's just what it is. That's just how I am. Whatever. But all right. So with that, being humble, I don't want to say that my definition or my view on the word itself, period, was completely different. But I'm looking at it also in the light of how we normally see it in other people's lives when we normally hear about it. And the first thing that comes to mind for me is like when we hear somebody saying that, whether it's in an interview, on Instagram, or something like that, it's always coming across like, say, if it's your favorite rapper or entrepreneur, CEO, like somebody higher up, you'll hear them say something like that, like, "Oh, I'm just humble about everything." And depending on when they're saying it and how they're saying it, it always come off as, all right, yeah, I got this position. I know I'm rich. I know I'm doing good, but I ain't gonna flex on y'all. I'm gonna be humble about it. That's how I normally hear the word humble being used. Period. But then when I'm looking at it for myself, like like I always do, I'm tying it right back to sickle cell because that's just who I am, and that's my life. It's like through my pain and suffering, those are my humbling moments that help me to appreciate those moments even more as they happen. So it's like necessarily just engagement and appreciation of how I'm able to remain aware and grow within any moment in life, starting from pain and suffering. Because if I'm able to appreciate pain and suffering, which to most people is looked at like on a negative scale, then that means everything else opposite of that can also be appreciated and whatnot, but it's going to be made to be appreciated a lot easier because my pain and suffering was something that was out of my control, even to the extent of how painful it is or how much I may be suffering either to the public or within myself. That's humbling to me. So it's like like three different views on humbling at the same time. Like I'm hearing what you're saying, and I definitely get how our guests broke it down, and I definitely understood it then. But yet I'm still looking at how we normally see humble on the regular and how I live through it, which is also different. So it's like, which is there necessarily a wrong way of viewing humble or engaging with the word humble? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah, and that's when you said the right or wrong. It just triggered, and that's maybe two things. You have to like it's really no right or wrong. It's just better understanding. And then another thing, it's all about context and like what context that is being used in. Not necessarily the I guess the definition per se, because not now that I think about it, I guess I just not really thought about this. Like I was, I don't know why I was so hung up on the definition, like I was, because you know that example that you use, about like I can, show my cars and money, blah blah blah, and flex on people, but let me humble myself. And I agree
Yeah.
with that. I agree with that. So I'm like, man, why was I getting so? I don't really have an answer now. I guess that's just something I'm gonna have to really, really think about and be like, damn, why was I getting so hung up on that? Maybe I just want to flex on motherfuckers.
Hey, hey, I mean, I ain't gonna say
Maybe.
yeah or no, but I will say I definitely had that thought. Being completely honest, like when we first started talking about humble, even before that episode, 'cause I think he just brought it up and broke it down a little bit better than when we had the conversation. When we first had that conversation about humble, I was thinking that I'm like, why is humble such a big deal to him like that? I'm like, why he can't just look at it this way? But I was like, you know what? I ain't gonna
and,
put my energy into that because I can't control that. So
and I think I mentioned it before. When you start to see things different, you start seeing things different, and and that was just a testament to that. Because I was just so caught up on uh, one form of it, and that's just the definition to think less of
mm,
self, and that's all I was caught on. So when I heard humble,
think
I'm
less of
like,
self.
I'm like,
Right.
I'm like, no, that ain't me. I'm not humble. I'm not humble. That's not me. But then I get that
Think less
different.
of
I
self.
get it in a different context, and I'm like, oh yeah, that is most definitely me. You know, that is most definitely me. And
Right.
it,
Right.
and again, it's a testament of what I speak on about on this podcast all the time: exposure, 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 experiences, experiences, experiences. Like if you are not constantly exposing yourself to different things and having different experiences and listening
Man, that
and
yeah.
not only just listening or exposing your things to those things, because you can expose yourself and have different experiences, but if you don't
Thanks.
go into those situations with um a heart to understand and not confirm, you know and
Okay. Yeah.
what
Remain
I
aware.
mean, what I mean by that is you go into conversation situations from wanting to have a better level of understanding once you come up out of that, versus going into a conversation and just wanting people to validate your beliefs.
Man, bro. Yes. Yes, that
Because
irritate me so much. Go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
I think it was a meme or something, and I posted it to my Instagram. It was like, just just because you believe something is right, don't mean it's true. Don't make it the truth.
Oh
I,
snap! I got too much going on in my brain like that. And then you just hit me
yeah,
with another one. Lord Jesus.
oh, okay. No, here we go. These the exact words. Just
Okay,
because you
all right.
convince yourself that something is true doesn't make it a fact. And and I believe that's what people they'll go into. They'll go into situations with a certain type of belief, and they'll mistake that for it being fact. And that's not the case, because it's always it's only, like I say, it's only one thing that we know that's fact, and that's the infinite intelligence flows around us and through us. And those
Right.
universal laws are the
I was
same
about to say he
laws.
better finish it. He better
Yeah,
finish it.
those universal laws are the same laws that govern everybody, and
And they
everybody's
don't
connected.
change.
Right, and that's the one universal fact. If you want to say, that's the one truth that always will
Right.
remain the truth. So
Okay.
just
All right. With that statement, man, I got a lot going on in my head right now.
come on,
But
let's get it out. This
with that
podcast.
statement, the truth with that statement, truth and fact, I'm like, all right. So what separates them to make it that? Because I understand the statement, but I'm like, dang, truth and fact is within the same statement. So it's like, where do you draw the line of separation between that?
No, I think just give an example. Like, I can believe all these. I'm gonna go with religion, because, as we know, religion and politics. This where we see it the most, where people believe something is, they convince themselves something is the truth, and it's
Mm,
fact from here on out. So I can say, you know, I want to be careful with this.
man,
Um,
right? Because I'm thinking of stuff, but I'm like, yo,
Let
I
me be
gotta
careful
say
with this.
that right
I
way.
can I can say,
Golly.
okay. Let's
You know
just
what?
go here.
All
Let's just
right.
keep it basic. Let's keep it basic. When when you die, you go to heaven. That's something that, you know over years, people, convinced that's the truth. You die, you go to heaven or you go to hell. That don't make it a
Right.
fact. That don't make it a fact, because fact is something that that you can prove. That
Okay.
something is a fact is something that you know and that you can prove and you have evidence of.
Right.
With you telling me that I'm gonna go to heaven when I die, you can't give me proof of that right now in this moment.
Right.
That's something you convince yourself that it's the truth. You know what I mean? And that could be a bad example, but
No, no, no. I
it,
get it.
you know what I mean. So that's what I took from that, because I'm like, and it was very humbling. There we go with the humbling again, because I know
Right.
I have to. I've been practicing more, going into those conversations. Oh, let me get it preface. Like, a lot of this podcast, y'all, it's like a therapy session for me. So
Same.
a lot of this stuff that we talk about, is stuff that I'm going through, and I'm fighting the
Yo,
struggle with.
right. It's
So,
real
and,
stuff. This
and
isn't no made up.
like, yeah, so this, because I want to be just authentic as possible, and I don't have anything to hide. I put everything out there. Especially since that happy place episode. I'm like, shoot, I did it. I poured it all out on that one. So now it ain't nothing else left. For me to, you know,
Man, ain't that a good
so
feeling though when you feel like you was like you was in your truth 100%, and then you like, you know what, I ain't
100%.
got nothing to worry about. I could say
Exactly,
this and
exactly.
this
So
now.
So yeah, so like I was saying, a lot of this podcast is no more nothing more than us speaking through our truths, or working out things that we struggle with in our day and day, and that we talk with each other about why we record, and even after we get off and record. So I just want to say that.
Yeah.
So I struggle with getting out my own way, because that's what it boils down to. It's just getting up out your own way. You know,
Right.
and understanding, like I was saying, like, look, my way ain't the only way. You know, my way ain't the only way. Like, I may have this plan to achieve wealth in this certain way, but that way that I got, you know, it's not somebody else. It's just not gonna resonate with their spirit. They just can't. They
Right.
just not gonna get jiggy with it. They gonna be like, look, I need,
Jiggy with it, yo.
yeah, jiggy with it. Like, I
You
can't
can't
get
get
jiggy with
jiggy with
that.
this shit. What's your damn manager?
Yes, yeah. Try again, mother sucker. Yeah, and that's how it be though. That's how it be, like real life though.
Nah, for
I
real.
wasn't even
For
thinking about that.
real.
It'd be like, what? I can't get jiggy with that. Like, try again. Like, try
Yo,
again.
that is okay. I know this is gonna be going off left a little bit, bro. I kid you not. For you to say that, I just watched that specific clip yesterday. Yesterday night, bro. Yesterday night. And I'm like, he really just said that right now. Like, what?
And, yeah,
Go ahead.
I'm great. I'm grateful for that infinite intelligence flowing through me and
Wow.
around me, flowing
Wow.
around me and through me. It don't matter which way you
Mm.
say it.
All right. Well, with that, the fact and truth, as you was explaining it and providing example, in my head, I'm like, man, I'm right here on the computer. Let me just type it up and see what the computer got for me. Duh. And what I got was I typed in truth versus fact. What the computer, what Google Bing. My fault. I use Bing. For those who don't know, if you use Bing when you search, you can get reward credits and gift cards and whatnot for free just for using a search engine. No strings attached. All right, not a sponsor.
And
However,
we not a sponsor, but hold that thought. Hold that thought. Hold that thought. Hold that
I
thought. What you was gonna say? Because this is another example of the infinite intelligence working right here. Because I was on my tablet, man. I was on my tablet, and the iPad asked me, did I want to use the Bing search engine, switch over to the Bing search engine. And I'm like, why do I want to switch
wow,
to Bing? Like, why is this
wow.
even popping up? Like, well, why is this even popping up? And I just clicked up out of it. Like, what? I don't get that.
Yo,
So,
really? We
uh,
3 for 3 right now. That might be
hey,
full low key.
hey. So yeah, I'm gonna have to
Ooh, what
put the
is
Bing search engine on my stuff now.
it? 56 minutes, but we probably been talking for like an hour. We done hit 4. Oh wow, that's crazy. All right, so also just to touch on that, I know us getting excited over those moments to the listeners and viewers, it comes across it looks simple because it's like if you really think about it, somebody can provide an example. Like somebody else could say, "Oh, I found a blue crayon," and then somebody else say, "Oh man, I found a blue crayon too." And it's just like, all right, what's the big deal? But when it comes down to especially other people that you interact with, and you know for a fact that they're living life through a higher frequency, as Sibley would say, or your true value and energy. How I would say, coincidental moments like that you know you had zero control over, period, and for them to happen without even connecting with the other person, it can be a complete stranger, and then it's even more impactful to you. But those coincidental moments say a lot to people like us that are thinking and
When
appreciating those moments.
I'm a contest a little bit. For one, I'm gonna contest you saying coincidental moments. There's nothing coincident about that. That was divine purpose. That's one.
True, true, true.
And two, what do you mean when you say when you said I think you said we didn't have nothing to do with it. Explain that. Like what do you mean? Put that in context for me.
All right. If I'm gonna still use the person. I'm gonna still use the person A found a blue crayon and person B example, like I just said. And what I mean is, like, say you find a blue crayon. We in the same room. First off, you find a blue crayon, and then I find a blue crayon in the same room. It's like, all right, we both found it, but at the same time, since we both found a crayon, then that means that's just crayons in the room, and there's a percentage where it's like, all right, that was gonna happen anyway. But when it comes down to interacting with people that you didn't have any engagement with for this moment to happen, that's what I mean. Like, not in our control. We didn't force it to happen per se. Like, we had the plan intentionally. There we go. We didn't have the intentional plan and
Okay,
strategy to
there
be
we
like,
go. Okay,
all
okay.
right, he
I
got a
like
blue crayon, I'm gonna go get it.
okay. I like that. I like that better. That's why I wanted to hear context because I'm like, oh, we had something to do with it because you had because I had that thought. I had that thought about the mic, about the iPhone,
Mm-hmm.
but I just let it go. You know, I didn't try to
Right.
will the result. I didn't try to will the result. But that
Right.
takes I had something to do because me letting it go and just letting it play out, that is doing something. You know, that
Right.
is
Right.
doing something because
On the levels that we conversate on, definitely. I agree with that 100%. That with you letting it go, you having that thought and then letting it go is necessarily you having the thought and also making an action through that same thought, all within the purpose of your divine energy. Period. So that's still something that you control, and knowing that come back around, and I end up having the same thought or moment, acting on that, that is the exact same thing. Also means I was able to live and act through my own divine energy, which we already said is one and the same amongst the entire world, universe, or whatever, and those laws will never change. But outside of that, that's when the actions of, like, all right, he ain't even call me to say do this. He didn't contact me to say maybe this is a suggestion. We didn't have a conversation about it. No, nothing. That's
but
what.
I did though. I didn't physically do it. I didn't physically do it. Let me take it to another level. Like we about to go
We
wax
can.
deep. We'll
We
wax
can.
deep. Like I didn't never physically pick up that phone, but by me letting it go and just having that thought and saying, okay, I'm gonna do this, that infinite intelligence worked for me. It was like I'm gonna go take it to him for you. You know,
Right.
I'm gonna take it to him for you. You don't have to physically do nothing. So yeah, man, I'm getting just even more excited just
No,
thinking
no,
about
no.
it, because
You good. I'm with all of that. I'm with all of it. The thing, I think, no, not I think. I know my purpose and example was to provide clarity for the audience to know that though I'm definitely agreeing with everything Sibley is saying 100%. That's not to the level of, like, we out here saying we got superpowers and telepathy. You get what I'm saying? We do, but not to the levels like
okay,
somebody else who's looking at it and hearing our conversation that don't really understand the levels in life when they're acting
yeah.
through their divine
So
energy. They gonna look at it and be like, they talking like they X-Men out here, like.
yeah,
But then as they continue, they're gonna be like, oh, I see what they mean now, because they gained that mental and spiritual growth needed to remain
absolutely,
aware of what we're talking
absolutely.
about.
it's gonna
That's
speak to who it's
that's
gonna speak to who it's gonna speak to,
mhm.
and
Mhm.
like Remy saying, if you listen and you not quiet, you like these guys, man. I don't know what they on. Like they like they of the devil right now. They speaking of all this stuff,
Bro, right?
and
That's what I'll be
so
thinking about. I'm like, some of these conversations, people gonna be like, I have no idea, and it's gonna be left field, but they gonna come back and be like, I get it.
but I challenge you. Here go another one. Here go another one. Here go another one
I
that we used to
get it.
hear coming up. So those
Yeah.
that's thinking like that, I challenge you not to lean on your own understanding. How many times have we heard that
Mmm.
coming up?
Mmm.
How many times have we heard that coming up? Like
Write that
don't
one
lean
down.
don't lean on your own understanding because like I was saying, like if
I,
you have to be more open to to coming into conversations, discussions, situations, and coming out of them not to confirm things within you, but to increase the level of awareness within you.
right. That part right there.
So yeah,
Yep.
I challenge y'all to do that because we at the end of the day we just here to help, and we want to take our personal experiences to help free y'all because like I say through this podcast week in and week out, it's always one thing I can take that Remy
Definitely.
he says something or he does something or he say something or he doing something or he get on the podcast and so show resilience. He do something, one thing every week that gets me to be like, okay, like I need to look at this different. I need to tweak this within myself, So
Right,
we,
right. Well,
iron sharpen iron.
I that part right there. I appreciate that 100% because that's exactly what I was about to say. Because at the same time, for you to take something from me, at least one thing every single time, on the levels that we're speaking, that also goes back to uh pouring into yourself and pouring into others at the same time, knowing that you're going to get that same energy back to refill your cup. It's not necessarily you pouring into everybody and now you don't even have anything left for yourself. But being
Right,
able to
right,
pour into
right.
somebody else gives you enough to also continue that cycle. You get what I'm saying?
Facts,
So
facts,
you
facts,
hold just as
facts.
much of an importance within that at the same time. I know I'm gonna have something from your end that's gonna give me enough to put in my cup so I continue to that cycle at the same time. Boy. Mm.
And this kind of gonna shift topics a little bit, but well, not necessarily
Are you
shift
good?
topics because it just flows. It's flowing, so we're gonna float with it. But
Right.
that's the important because when you hit me when you said that I'm gonna pour into others and not basically to paraphrase it and not be empty at the
Mm,
end of it. I know they gonna pour something back into me too, and
facts.
that just teach to the a testament to the importance of um, having people in your circle that
Yep.
are
Yep.
adding value to you and not
Yep.
taking away. Like
Yep.
what it's like in sports, the term like what have you done for me lately? It's like
Right. Right.
what have you done for me lately? And that's why I always surround myself with people that I know that's going to add value to me and that's going to at the end of the day pour into me because I know like that's a form to me is it's a form of self care to me because I know if I got people that's I'm surrounded by that's pouring into me
Mhm.
and I'm filling my cup with overflow. That's a lot of reason why I say overflow morning, overflow evening. You know, because I'm always in.
Mm.
I want to always be in consistent overflow. Like I'm
Okay.
always in consistent overflow. So if I have
Hmm.
people that's
I didn't know
constantly
that.
pouring into me, that means
Mm.
I'm in overflow, and when I'm in overflow, I constantly have stuff to give to pour into other people. So it's all
That's
it,
real.
it it's all a chain. Like I'm constantly having, and if I'm on empty, it's some type of disconnect somewhere. I'm
Right.
not,
Right.
I'm not, doing whatever necessary it is for if my cup half empty, that's on me. You know what I mean? Like I'm either
Mhm.
not doing enough to pour into myself, or I got too many people around me that's
Right.
taking
You got
away
too
from my
many
cup
people
and
that.
not giving
Yep.
back.
Mhm. No, that's real. That's 100%. Yeah. That yes. That definitely goes to all the actions that I have made. Shoot, I want to say within the last year, but I'm gonna say last 2 years, because I know there's been moments even within the podcast where I've mentioned how I always used to avoid that leadership or the fact that people look at me like a leader in certain moments, and now being able to really understand what makes me a leader and living through that leadership, it's like, you know what? I'm more aware of how deep that really goes with an understanding of leadership. So it's like, you know what? I know what keeps me in that mode for myself, but when I'm engaging with other people at the same time, now, even within this statement, there are still always going to be uh people that's feeding off of your energy without you even being directly with them in that moment, period. So it's like when I'm whoever I'm having around me or whoever I'm engaging with, if I feel like I'm not getting anything back to go back to my cup at the end of the day, then I mean maybe this is an extreme action to make, then I'm cutting you off. Like period. Even if you family member, when it comes down to family members, me saying I'm cutting you off, that's not like me saying I hate you. I don't ever want to be
Right.
around you.
Yeah,
No,
I don't
it's
fuck
just the
with you.
fact
It's
of
just I gotta have you in doses. Like I gotta
yeah,
monitor
yeah.
how often I'm around you. Like too
Right.
much of
Like I
you is not healthy for me.
bro,
So oh,
exactly. Like
you know
I
I get
gotta
that.
have in order for me to engage with you, I gotta have a full cup because I already know that I'm not gonna get energy back in
Exactly.
that moment
Exactly.
at the end of the day.
Exactly. I
That's
can't
all.
come to you. I can't come to you with a half cup because I know you about to take the rest of it.
Bro, that
I know you
right
about to take
there.
it and not leave me
Oh
a squid. I
God,
know you about to take the rest of it. So that's not saying that
man.
you a bad person or
Right,
anything, but I know
right.
when I come to you, I can't do something. I can't spend time over here with something that bring me that bring without. I can't come to you without being fully recharged.
There we go.
Because
There you go. There you go.
I can't because I'm not able to deal with you properly because
Right.
at that point it's like because it's like when it's similar to when you done had a long day and
Yep. Yep. Yep.
you haven't ate and you get real
Yep.
irritated. You get real irritated. Every little thing start irritating I mean,
Bro.
like you see an ant crawling with a piece of cracker, and you like, why you going to eat and I can't eat? You know what I mean? Like you starting to you get upset off the smallest things because
Yeah.
you haven't put that fuel in your body to give you an energy, so give you the necessary energy for you to be functioning at full
Yep.
force. So
Yep.
most
Yeah.
definitely,
Yeah.
definitely get that one.
That right there. And also with that, and I'm still speaking on family. Also with that, on the flip side of that, I'm like, you family. Like, I'm gonna be around you anyway. It's just I know what I'm getting myself into. Not to say that
Exactly.
you're a horrible person. It's just I know what I need from myself, and if I feel like I'm not going to get that, then I gotta distance myself because otherwise, like he said, I'm going to be empty. That's when stress, anxiety, depression, or
Right.
any other negative elements to your life, depending on who you are, that's when that type of stuff kick in, and now it makes it
Yeah.
harder for you to get the fuel you need to even get back to a full cup.
Facts.
Period.
Like when you put yourself in situations like that, you just start starting shit with the person. You just start starting shit.
I'm guilty. I'm guilty. I ain't gonna lie. I'm guilty of that. If I
Hey, and
know that, I
I'm
will
guilty of.
say or do
That's
something.
why I mentioned it.
Oh my God. I'm so guilty of that.
Like,
Go ahead.
that's why I brought it up. Cause when you mention it, I'm like, shoot. When I'm like, cause I had a kind of incident like that. I kind of had an incident like that with my daughter, where I was just hungry and I just went off on her. I went there. Cause man, my daughter, man,
Yo.
she get into that point now where well, I ain't gonna say to that point now, she always be on 10, but
Okay.
I forgot what it. See, that's how I know it was so petty because I can't even remember what
Right.
it was that triggered it. But I went off on it. But I did go back after I thought about it. Like, come here, baby, give me my cheek. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Like, Daddy didn't need to react that
Right.
way.
Right. Man. Man.
Let's go get something to eat, you little brat.
No, that's so real right there. So that's a greater, not a greater, a better understanding on how I'm moving now. So that goes from family members and friends watching or whatnot. I just feel like that. I know the things that for sure I know the things that pull a lot of energy out of me to where it makes it harder for me to refill my cup, and that goes to the extent of just being messy and confused, messy, delivering confused energy, and involving myself and even yourself because being in the same room with some people, involving yourself within things that I know for a fact I can't control, and it's like, bro, why am I sitting in this energy? Period. I don't
Right,
need to sit
right,
in this energy.
right,
This is
right.
pulling so much out of me. And now when I go home, I'm gonna be tired. I don't even care no more. Yeah, that's all
Yeah,
that
and
is.
it boiled down to being self-aware enough to know
That.
that
Yep.
this not the ideal environment for me because I need at least I need at least 3/4 of a tank, and I'm on a quarter right
Facts.
now. So
Facts.
I'm
Facts.
gonna sit this one out. Like
Yep.
y'all go and enjoy yourself, and y'all have a good time. But I'm gonna sit this one out. And y'all
That,
not like, cause
that's
I have a
real.
hard time to be quite honest, just how I am. Like I have a hard time keeping relationships and friendships because man, if we ain't if we ain't in elevating each other's self awareness, talking
Mm, mm,
business,
mm,
you
mm, mm,
know,
mm, mm.
talking empire building. To be
Mm-hmm.
honest, I ain't got nothing for you. Like really, like really, like I get into the sports stuff. That's how me and my brothers connect, and we keep our relationship A1. But
Yeah, so you
outside
know
of
that's the thing. Even with my fault, I don't mean to cut you off, but yet I do mean to cut you off because I wanna focus on that statement right there. You being able to engage with your siblings and you know what it takes to get to that. Y'all engage and build through the sports. You're
right,
aware of
right,
that. You know
right,
that's how you can do that. If you don't know, no matter who it is, family or friends, that's where that drainage also builds up and you don't necessarily know what to do about it. You that self-awareness, that's what that is right there. But go ahead.
yeah, and just I actually lost my chain of thought with that, but
My fault. My fault. But I really wanted to focus on that because that's what we're talking about. Like, it's something as simple as that. You know that that's what it takes to get to that level that y'all can build and pour into each other through sports. Cool. That's the best thing. Being able to understand how that works within yourself. And then once you're able to understand that and you see that connection shows up a lot more with other people, then that makes it easy, even more easier for you to make moves and be around people. Like that's makes it easier for you to be comfortable in any environment, especially if they're around. Period. Now you got
facts,
backup on a whole nother level instead of just having backup. You get what I'm saying? Like, family
right,
gonna look out for you, but now
right,
y'all looking out for each other on a whole nother level.
absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. We So, the moral of this whole podcast, everybody, we kind of went, we went in a few different places today.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
definitely, definitely.
we went in a few different places today, but I guess the biggest take from it was, well, a couple things. One,
Dang, that's go ahead.
let's say one, let's say don't lean on your own understanding. Always go into situations understanding that you may be um, exposed to something that's going to change your perspective and get you to look at things different. And
Yeah.
two, I would say, and the second I would say is to, because it's just so big and it's something that I practice daily. Monitor the people that you got around you. Are they givers or are they takers? Like, are
Mm,
they are they givers or are they takers? You know, and
mm.
take care of yourself first. Take care of yourself first because to be quite honest, if you don't, you can't. You can't take care. You can't take care of others without taking care of yourself first.
Man, that we hear that statement so much, man. We just broke that statement down. Yes.
You can't take care of others unless you take care of yourself first. So that's what I want y'all to take from this episode and this podcast, and just practice that this week as you
Yeah.
go about your day in and day out, endeavors. You got
Yeah.
anything, phone?
Uh, I mean, just to tie it all in, because even though it may seem like we went in several different lanes, be honest, we were still on the topic of humble, especially if we're going through the statement that we made in the beginning, being selfless. If we're able to remain aware of what it takes for us to continue to pour into others, is that not already being selfless, aka humble?
Mm, mm, mm. It is. It is. It
Hey,
is. I
that's
love
that.
it. I love it. I love it. As always, y'all, we thank y'all for tuning in with us. I was watching a podcast where just before we got on and record, and at the end of it, he said, "Go give us some reviews because that's what made the podcast hop up on, start to
No,
climb on the
that's real.
charts. That's what they look at. So if y'all
Yeah,
listen to us, please give us a review because we want to, get our message out there, in the way that,
yeah,
we articulate it and deliver it because, you know, we talk about a lot of universal stuff here on this podcast that may be talked about on other podcasts, but I'm a true believer in that what we talking about is for the people who we supposed to touch. So and
facts,
and it's
facts.
for us. So yeah, go get us some reviews because we gonna blow this thing up. And we
Mm-hmm.
this episode 21. We 21 episodes in, and there's no sign
21,
of
boy.
ever stopping. Yep, lucky
Facts.
number 21. Lucky number
Yeah,
21.
yeah. Hit us up, the
So,
like button, a comment or something. Y'all
all
hold
of it.
a heavy position in helping us grow and reach other people.
Feedback.
Yeah,
Give us some feedback. Topics
yeah.
that y'all may want us to talk about. Even I'm even open to bringing on our listeners as guests. You got a
Mm,
topic that you was like, man, I could have engaged in that topic with them. Hit us up,
yeah,
reach out to us. If
yeah.
you know me personally, you know Remy personally, reach out. You know, if you don't
Definitely.
know us personally, reach out. Um,
Yep.
and we most definitely can make that happen because y- y'all may have some value that that'll expand our self awareness. That y'all can
Mm-hmm.
give to us, and that we can give back to the world
Yep.
at the end of the day.
Yep.
So on that note, we love y'all. Thank y'all. See y'all next week. Let's create.
Let's create.